guys, welcome back in. I'm here with the monthly energy update for February. For those of you who are newcomers, thank you so much for joining. I'm Meg, a mindfulness coach and healer, and I share wisdom and hope each week through guided meditation and also these monthly updates as of now. I hope that you're all doing well and feeling energized as we start February. As I mentioned, it's the beginning of watery Pisces season and all of the emotional kind of in touch with our feelings sign. And coming off of Aquarius, which is also a very independent, eccentric, unique energy. So I think that January was certainly a month that I think everyone was excited for, to set the stage with a blank slate and start clean and fresh. Not necessarily with resolutions. But I came today to my favorite hangout to meditate and feel my way through the script of today's video. And I've been going to the library lately and it feels so peaceful, and literally the messages came to me so quickly, like a domino, one after another, only after closing my eyes for a few minutes. So let's dive in. Coming off of January, I feel that there's been an energetic shift for sure, even in terms of the weather. And the visual I'm getting for this upcoming month is picture like an all-weather track, and the runners are eagerly lining up to wait for the gunshot sound to jump up and leap in front of the competition when it begins. That is what I'm feeling, which leads me to the first intuitive message that I received, and I'm happy to share. And that is, number one, you've prepared for this next race, if you will, and you are ready. It's like you're waiting for your number to be called, myself included. It's, forget any New Year's resolutions. And I think many people did sort of bag them this year and instead tried to focus on something not quite so drastic. Because as we know, it's not just this really contrasty energy all the time. And you've been working so hard. Just keep continuing with your own routine and your own flow and rhythm. And I think the neat part is it's different and unique to each of us, which is why meditation and clearing through the noise is super helpful to ensure that you're stepping into your truth. Not what the next position is at your company, not what your significant other thinks is best for your next step or truth, or your parents, or even the older version of yourself that may have put pressure on yourself. But the question is, what do you want? I think and congratulations, guys. I think this is really big. I feel like stepping out of the first message, I will jump into the second, which is clarity. So you've prepared, the race is coming, you've done the labor intensive training for months and months. You've sweat so many beads of sweat as you've really been disciplined and consistently showing up for whatever it is that you are trying to bring into your life. And you've invested heavily in yourself and the time that's required to work on your craft, or to fine tune your skill set, maybe to be a better partner, whatever it is for you. But clarity as the second message. I really saw this image of seeing through a film, when you're cleaning off a camera lens, maybe you're in the desert and it's been dusty, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I can see it, the reality of what is here and what am I really calling in. And quite literally, each day, it's like this methodical energy of realizing the efforts that we place into mundane tasks and dreams alike, we're very focused on how do we optimize the 24 hours that we have in the day? And equally, how do we not burn ourselves out? It's almost like this clarity has come in like a freight train and dropped off this message from your higher self saying, you know what, this is the way that I wanted to pivot, or this is the dream I've always had, I'm going to continue. And I think first, guys, give yourself a little bit of grace because these things change. We may set out on a path, and after going halfway down and investing years into a career or a relationship, maybe into a certain type of schooling, maybe to a place that you moved and you went across the world or the country, it's okay to change your mind and it's okay to pivot. But I think the good news here is whatever the dust was that was sort of swirling around at the end of 2023 up through January has now become much more clear. And so it's important, and I encourage you to manage your self-care this month and how many yeses you declare each week, in addition to the many responsibilities on your plate. And it requires ruthless prioritization. And I think you'll be surprised that it may not be too difficult because the energy will be much more day and night. You'll either feel connected to something or you won't. And again, there's not a right or wrong answer. It all depends on your needs and mostly your desires. And think in terms of what will your future self be doing. So I have a little exercise to add on the note of clarity and about your future self that I've been doing. So when you become clear on a dream or desire or wish and you're feeling that it's in delay, so simply act like the dream or desire is already here in terms of your emotions and how you're feeling, how would you act if it were already done? So if the job that you have been wanting just arrived on your doorstep after all the hard work, how would you be feeling? How would you be dressing? What would you be making for dinner? How would you be preparing or upgrading your space or your car? Think about all of the things that you would be doing if the dream were already done. And one thing I love to think back to is Abraham Hicks's analogy that we're already pregnant, if you will. Like the baby is growing and maturing and it will be born on a date when it's ready, right? But remind yourself to not get so hung up on getting pregnant because you already are. And so on that note, this is a very, very fertile time also. So be aware of your family planning or lack thereof. But essentially, what you want is already within you and it's already within reach and it's already coming. It will mature and it will be born. So as you continue into February, just be very mindful to not carry any excess weight or take on any other stress or anything really that you don't need to. And I know in January we had a theme of really just like lightening the load, and I have to be honest, like that came up again too here. I think it's going to be continuing until we get through the spring of 2024. So just be proud that you are ready and know what you want and that it's clear, and then just get into the zone. So our third intuitive hit is, once the clarity's arrived and your mind sort of starts spinning, it's time for this big piece that enters into the scene, which is what I like to call idea filtering, or just really filtering. Where would you like to place your energy? How many new projects or ideas do you have? It's probably best not to take on too much because often it becomes overwhelming. And I remember one time a mentor told me, wow, You have so many goals, it seems like it would probably be hard to focus on just two. But I encourage you to, the ones that are most important. And honestly, ever since then, I've sort of adjusted to be laser beam focused on two things at a time. Otherwise, the quality of my work fades, and it isn't really a true representation of my true creativity and ability. And not only that, I think it's really just our ego getting out of the way of we're running out of time and why can't I push all these boulders up a mountain at the same time? It shouldn't feel like you're pushing anything up a mountain. It should feel like you are aligning your energy each day with the goals that you have in mind. And I think part of the maturity is, as we go through our spiritual path, is recognizing that the reality is, if you're going to be maintaining personal relationships and family and a great system of community with hobbies and activities and sports, whatever it is for you, and of course, like your career and maybe the associations you're a part of, or just, becoming more acquainted with colleagues and like-minded people. We only have a certain amount of time. And I think that we have to pick and choose the things that are really most important. And then once we cross that off the list, we can move forward. And it may feel like, you're putting something on the back burner, but you're really not. I'll give you an example. I went to design school and created a really bohemian line of caftans after I quit my job at eBay. And let me tell you guys, I did not follow the right formula necessarily at all. And it fell flat. It basically fell flat on the ground. And part of it, I think, was because I simultaneously moved to another place that was far away from anyone I knew. I started freelance art directing, and I also was in a new relationship. So it's no wonder that I wasn't able to give all of my attention or focus onto this, this line, which some people, that is their full-time job. And I was just kind of doing it. I felt like I wanted to move through the world at my own pace. And I'm not judging myself, but I certainly wish I could have maybe made some different choices back then, which now I carry those lessons with me forward. But I think if I could give some advice for February, I would say really try to focus. And I don't know if you are fans of it, but you could try to create a vision board if you have it. Maybe put up a Post-it note on your mirror. Like, try to really, really garden the weeds of your mind the best you can. And once you've filtered to the most important, really map your time and skills to it pristinely. Like, be consistent, show up, and just continue doing the work, because this is the notion, that things will just appear in our lives. Like, sometimes they do, and at times for reasons like we may have no idea, like certain blessings and gifts from God or the universe. But in general, I think we have to sort of do the work. And if things are progressing as nicely in certain areas of our lives, then it's really a time where we can evaluate and look to see where we might be causing our own selves resistance. So moving on to number 4, this is a kind of special message that came through. It was one of receiving, really, truly receiving. And I think that can come in many forms. It can come in the forms of messages from our higher self. It can be, receiving wisdom from, a trusted partner or coach, or, it really can come from anywhere, from nature. And similar to last month, staying and listening, which I think is a great foundational element, is key, because then you can really hear like what it is that the wisdom within yourself is telling you to really, really receive. And I think this requires a little bit more patience to not have a knee-jerk reaction and react really quickly. And I know at times it's warranted that we make a quick decision, whether it's in business or whether it is in, personal life, but we can't receive any messages or love or anything if we're filled to the brim with worry and doubt and unprocessed emotions. So this is key to welcoming in the newness and receiving. We cultivate the space by our self-care rituals, of course, meditation and the like. And in order to become more spiritual and to feel our intuitive selves grow and to experience and to witness the inner landscape of ourselves evolving, this is a big part. And I hope you may all find the benefits of your self-development. And also, you may be receiving guidance or thoughts in your dreams, so maybe try to write them down, and when you're a little more cognizant, you can reflect. Messages also may come in the form of animals or literal messengers in the 3D. I had an experience recently that felt very angelic, like someone dropped a little angel down from heaven. And signs and synchronicities are always around if we open our eyes and if we listen. And Wayne Dyer always says, which I love, he's such a wise soul. Rest in peace, Wayne. He always said, spend a day from time to time just listening to people, smiling and not interjecting with, oh, well, I did that too, or, oh, I believe this, or I think this. Just being silent and letting the other person talking feel your gift, like this sense of space of actually listening. Hopping into our last intuitive hit that came, and this is a fun one. There's an energy that it's time to try something new, to venture out, to do something you've never done, to kind of feel a part of your new self, something that you maybe never thought you could do or would want to do. It could be traveling. It is a requirement to physically move the energy, and we have to figure out what that is going to serve us. I personally want to be in the outdoors this year more than ever, and I can't wait to go camping and sleep under the stars. I also want to try different forms of exercise, like maybe doing Pilates again. I know I felt very strong when I incorporated that even every so often into my routine. And, what would you like to do? What's a new hobby? Or perhaps it's learning how to cook or just joining a new group. Community, of course, is so important. So there's this energy of carpe diem, and I love it. It's sort of playful. We just deserve to live, you guys. We're humans, to feel excited, to do things for pure joy and to laugh. And, sometimes we just have to draw outside the lines of what we're normally used to, and just, it really breathes so much good energy into our souls when we do something new. So find your joy and find what you love, what you like to spend your time doing. And also, oftentimes when you do these things that sort of are your own form of medicine, whatever that is, it helps us cross paths with people and places and just new experiences that leave a lasting impact and really change our lives for the better. It really is like a lightning bolt of good energy when we put ourselves out there in the world and we live. And there's been a sense of holding back, I think, in our collective. It's been maybe a less than optimum year in 2023, and as we enter into this new year, it's almost like just take off the heaviness, like the backpack or the clothing or the habits or the mindsets or the outdated patterns and limited beliefs that don't serve you, and just leave them behind and there's no rule. There's no reason. It doesn't matter how old you are, what you think society feels that is right to be doing or trying to be in your life. I mean, there is this place near one of the boutiques that I work with, and they have this live music, and when I'm working there, I just like can't help but smile because people are singing and the music is playing. And not only that, the time that I did go over there with a friend for a couple hours, there were people in their 80s absolutely dancing up a storm. And apparently one famous woman that is known to be there that dances from like 8 until midnight every, Sunday night or whatever night it is. And I just thought that was so cool because she even came up to, I'll just share a story. She came up to our table and I just complimented her. I said, it's really amazing to see your energy. Like, you seem so in your element. And she said, my husband and I danced together for 20 years and he's no longer here. And I just feel that that's my connection to myself and to spirit and to him. And I do it every week and it makes me feel so good. And I think that's kind of a reminder to us all, like, what are we waiting for? You're not going to have a perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect opportunity or invitation. It's almost like we have to create it ourselves. And how can you create that for yourself? How can you create some new memories this year and things with your loved one? Just create the life that you want to be living. So I hope that all of these messages resonate with you for February. I'd love to hear, please comment below and let me know your thoughts of what you're hoping to kind of take away and do in February. But as always, it's a joy and honor to be here with you guys, and I will be back so soon with another video. But all of my light and blessing